Now this is an example of paint. I set out, but this is a small painting, so you can do this. I set out to make every stroke in this picture the last one. I was going to make one stroke. I was going to build a whole picture up that way, just like you'd lay bricks. There's a letter in one of Vincent van Gogh's letters where he talks about Vincent van Gogh now, the most romantic guy you'd ever think of, and he says somewhere, he says, when I think about painting reminds me of nothing so much as, and you might think, what would Vincent van Gogh say? Well, it's making a good pair of shoes. So it's like making a pair of shoes. Who would think Van Gogh, the great romantic, would say that? But it is like laying bricks, making shoes, tying everything together, putting parts in. So I thought, I'm going to start this thing and I'm going to make every stroke the last stroke. And if you can see how this is painted, it's a stroke, 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 all over. Very little modeling. See, not much modeling in it. In fact, almost no modeling. Just the only reason you know where things are is that this is in front of that, and that's in front of this back here. These colors come forward a little bit, so you know this is in front of this. This overlaps that a little bit. It's all overlap. That overlaps this, overlaps that. This overlaps that. This overlaps that. You get the idea. So everything's sort of, you realize from the overlap where everything stands. So then I don't have to bother modeling everything. By modeling, I mean making everything go around. Going from maybe bright to cooler or something, or try to model it. So it's not really necessary. I can just lay it in relatively flat. I do warm it up a bit towards the front. And I can lay all this stuff flat, 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 flat. So basically, it's like you made it out of you could make this painting fundamentally out of construction paper. You could cut all the little pieces out of construction paper, and you could glue it together like a collage, and you'd have this painting. See, that's the kind of simplification I really like when I can do that. When I can reduce everything down to these big, simple, interlocking shapes, some big, some small, and figure out a way to have them all interconnect with each other. So when you look at it, instead of, if this were done meticulously, you'd see this, the bridge, you'd see all of this, you'd see that you'd know what was on here, couldn't you? Nets, you'd see these boats and the details of the boats and the equipment and all that kind of stuff, and you wouldn't see the whole thing. You'd end up seeing this and this and that and this, instead of seeing the whole works. So what I'm trying to do is give you this, I guess put it this way, I want you to see what I see in a glance, like the glance. Boop, there it is. It's not something where you're going to look at as if I'm giving this a searching kind of view where I'm trying to give you every little detail. I'm trying to capture the glance, more or less. And I don't know if you ever noticed it, but well, you will. If you're a painter, you would. So often you drive along and you'll see something out of the corner of your eye. You think, wow, what in the world was that? You back up, you can't find it. It's something you saw, some little thing that must have triggered something in your brain, but it's gone when you're back there. Now, if you could figure out what in the world that was, and stick with the glance, you're all set. But as I said before, the trouble with a spot like this, if you don't watch out, you start doing the background. And the next thing you know, you start doing the foreground. So then what's the point? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Hopefully this is supposed to be it. See? Then I let the background go, and I let this go also. So there's a reason why. I'm not just simplifying down for the sake of simplifying down. I'm simplifying down because I want to make a point. I'm trying to say something. That's the whole. So first of all, and that's why it's a lot like literature. I had my literary background. I mean, these paintings are telling you something. They're telling you a story, but it's just a visual story. It's not a historical story or anything like that.